Alright, so hello and good day. My name is Aldrich F. Fernandez, and for today we are going to discuss science. Science is also a great subject for continuous learning. So you may ask yourself, why is it hot in the Philippines? So for today, we are going to discover why. So without further ado, let's get started. So you can see a photo of weather. So you may ask yourself, what is weather and what does it mean? Weather is the state of the atmosphere describing for the example is the degree to which it is hot or cold, wet or dry, calm or stormy, clear or cloudy. Weather will also help us to identify the different seasons in the Philippines. So you may also ask once again, what is seasons? A season is the period of the year that is distinguished by special climate conditions. Each has its own light, temperature, and weather patterns that repeat yearly. So it doesn't repeat daily, it repeats by year. Each has its own light, temperature, and weather patterns that repeat yearly, and it has also its own cycles depending on day. Fun fact, we only have two seasons in the Philippines. So, what are the two seasons in the Philippines, you may ask? So, what are those seasons? Loading, please wait. The two seasons in the Philippines are the following: wet and dry season. Do you know weather changes are great? Why? Because it normalizes temperature and also along it, weather will help us to explore new season. So first we have the wet season. The wet season, sometimes called as the rainy season, is the time of the year when most of a region's average annual rainfall occurs. Generally, the season lasts at least a month. The term green season is also sometimes used as an alternative for the tourist authorities. Areas with wet seasons are dispersed across portions of the tropics and subtropics of a one's country. Okay, so second and the final season here in the Philippines is the dry season. The dry season is a yearly period of low rainfall, especially in the tropics area in a country. The weather in the tropics is dominated by the tropical rain belt, which moves from the northern to the southern tropics and back over the course of a year. Hmm, then why is it hot in the Philippines? So, you can see a picture of hot, humid weather to continue nationwide by Pag-asa. The Philippines is intersected by the equator. So, you may ask, what is equator? Equator is like a part in the earth where mostly sun rays and radiation, like the sun rays, is making that place hotter. And let's also discuss that poles is the part of the earth where sun rays and radiation of the sun mostly doesn't occur. That's why poles are much more colder than the equator and equator is much more hotter than the poles. So they experience much warmer when you are in equator, warmer temperatures year round than the rest of the world, despite the shared elevation. This is due to the equator's near constant exposure to sunlight all year long. So the equator are much more into sunlight all year long, and those sun rays and sun radiation are mostly dedicated just for the equator. So in here, I hope everyone understand now why is it hot in the Philippines and what are the two seasons in the Philippines accordingly. So here are the sources for our photos and here are the sources for the informations. And that's it for my quick presentation on why is it hot in the Philippines. I hope you can now define the basics on what are the two seasons in the Philippines and understand The equator is also one of the main reasons why is it hot in the Philippines because it's located also near in the equator. And that's it for my presentation. I hope you learned something and have a great day ahead. Thank you.